Everyone is sleepy. My God, you're shocking me. Okay, and after all the talk on sedation, how many of you are sedated? Okay, thank God. So today I'll be dealing with breakaway and restraining techniques. I will not be dealing with much theory. I'll talk more from the perspective of my experience as a psychiatric nurse. So we'll quickly go through the slides. So breakaway techniques are a set of physical skills which are intended to help someone break away from an aggressor in a safe manner. This is the definition given by National Institute of Clinical Excellence 2015. In a way, it is very similar to self-defense. How many of you know martial arts? Karate, judo, taekwondo, anybody? Some hands are going up. Anybody? I'm seriously asking. Oh yeah, there. We have someone there. Okay. Good. So what is the aim of breaking away from an aggressor? The first thing is to protect yourself and others. The others could be patients, members of staff, visitors from physical attacks. And the second one is to be protected under health and safety legislation. So for us, it is a Mental Health Care Act 2017 where it speaks about, like after breakaway, the next resort is, of course, physical restraining. So wherein you have to use physical restraint as a last resort. It should be ordered by a psychiatrist and you should not use it for the personal convenience. Okay. Then is breakaway training for me? Yes, of course, because attack can occur anytime, anywhere, and we have to be prepared. So if you don't break away, that's how you're going to end up. See that picture there? Yeah, and there are some warning signs and some danger signs that every patient gives before he really gets into that attacking mode. So first, let us look at the warning signs. And to assist me, I have 4 students here. Miss K. Sushmita, who's the patient, and Miss A. Divya, she's the role of a staff. So first, Sushmita and Divya will be showing the warning signs. All of them are BSc third year students. That yes, I'm ready. Come face me, okay? Then the third one is exaggerated movements. So it's like everything looks very dramatic about the patient. Second is, the fourth one is breathing rate increases. So because he's getting restless, you can actually see that breathing has increased, or tachypnea, what you call. Then the next one is quick movements. So it'll show. Okay. Sushmita is pretty good, actually. Next is shift. So it's like, I'm ready. I can kick any time if you come near me. So that's the signal. So when you see these signs, that is direct prolonged eye contact, standing tall, exaggerated movements, breathing rate increases, quick movements, shifting weight from one foot to the other, you still have time to intervene and you can use the de-escalation techniques, calm down the patient, and you can resolve the situation, okay? But if that doesn't happen, like probably you are very calm, but the ward boy or the, the support staff has provoked the patient and the patient has passed the warning signs. Now he's exhibiting danger. Shoulders tensed. Stance moves from square to sideways. And the last one is facial color may pale. Of course, we cannot show that. Okay, so these are the danger signs. I'll repeat. Fist clenching, lips tightening over teeth, hands raised above the waist, shoulders tensed, stance moves from square to sideways, facial color may pale. So when you see these danger signs, you immediately have to leave the area and call for the security. This is a mnemonic that I have formed. So it is ABS. The first one is A. So that is the attire. So if you are a psychiatric nurse or a staff, see that your hair always tied up. Looks like I have to become the patient and scream now. It's easy for the patient to grab the hair, okay? The second thing is avoid wearing collar dresses because again it's easy for the patient to hold. Similarly, we usually avoid wearing aprons in the psychiatric unit for the same reason, for the collar as well as the pocket. Because all of us have this habit of stuffing things into the pocket like our pens, mobiles, which the patient can easily flick and he can use it to his advantage, okay? And we have incidences of patients tearing the pockets also. And the next thing is avoid wearing hangings like dupattas, saris, any flowy dresses, and wear comfortable shoes because you may have to run anytime, okay? And yeah, believe me, you need to keep another set of clothes handy because you otherwise you might have to sometimes go home embarrassment, okay, with embarrassment. Okay, the next A is for the alarm. Staff alarm, or it is even you can use it also as a personal safety alarm. So you get it in different sizes like I forgot what it is called. This has like a trigger. This has a trigger. You can just pull this and it gives an alarm, whereas this is like a button operated one, okay? So this is how it works. Now I think all those who were sleeping are awake. Okay. So I hope the insecurity doesn't come running. So this really gives a very loud noise. Every staff member on the unit has to have this. So whenever there is any, like untoward incident on the unit, not only related to aggression, but if the patient is trying to abscond, you can use the staff alarm, okay? The next one is B. So B stands for bouncer. Like in Chetana Hospital, we have employed bouncers, not to do anything to the patient, just, to be there, just to, the mere presence of the bouncer can kind of intimidate the patient, okay? And the next one is S. So S is for safe presence. The clothes grab, this is called, yes. Use your hand, support the arm of the patient, press the little finger a bit, hold the wrist, twist, and then escape. Then again, clothes grab from behind. So same thing, use both your hands, twist, really take the patient's arm behind and run. Next is grab from front and behind. So if the patient wants to